Well, hello, glorious people of the interwebs, and welcome back to Anthem. We got a massive update today, and this actually wasn't supposed to release until March 12th, but the devs did release it early today on March 9th, and it's looking pretty good. There's a few controversies regarding this particular update, and we'll get into that, but one thing is for sure, playing as an Interceptor now is ridiculously OP, and I started to love Interceptor about halfway through my gameplay, and it's an amazing class, and it got a massive buff in this particular update, and that's what we're playing as today in the footage in the background, going through a Stronghold. The damage is just absolutely insane. We're going to cover that first before we get into the full patch. If you've been debating playing an Interceptor, now might be the time to get into it. You can just get in everything's face and just devastate everything. Before this update, my melee damages were doing anywhere between like 500 and 800. Now they're going anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 per hit, with my electricity explosions that come from one of my masterworks hitting between 8,000 and 10,000, which is absolutely insane. This buff is just ridiculous. Playing as an Interceptor right now, I'm just going to let the footage in the background speak for itself. And this comes from a very specific part of this update, where they adjusted damage and item scaling changes, which was definitely needed, and this is a huge increase to not only the Interceptor damage, but damage as a whole across all Javelins. Now, they adjusted the damage scaling of secondary damage sources. These now scale with average item power, and this will allow these damage sources to be scaled in Grandmaster difficulties. So in this footage, we're playing Grandmaster 1, and literally just plow through everything, which is amazing. This will increase the scaling of the following. So melee damage, which is huge for Interceptor, because 90% of your damage is coming from melee damage, if not 100% almost, except for some of your little abilities there. Then we've got combo damage, ultimate damage, status effects, and item procs like Yevenia's Thunder, which is just all of this compounding with an Interceptor is huge. So basically, the Interceptor will benefit the most from this, because not only is it increasing your melee damage, it's increasing your combo damage, and it's increasing your ultimate damage, which is also melee damage. Status effects are huge, and item procs are huge. So all of this covers every single aspect of the Interceptor. Now, other Javelins will benefit from combo damage, ultimate damage, status effects, and item procs as well, but it really compounds on the Interceptor itself. So item power scaling has changed to better reflect the actual power of the item based on its rarity. This is applied to all items retroactively. Players will see the power of items go up. So this has increased drastically to where Masterworks are now dropping at level 61 versus level 46. Now, unfortunately, I do not have any legendaries, so I've not been able to showcase exactly what their power levels will be at now after the patch. But also the epics have increased to, I believe it's level 38. So quite a bit of increases everywhere, and it's looking really good for improving the gameplay at endgame. This is here. Respawn timers are now based on activity a player is in, so respawn restrictions have been completely removed. Crit path, agent missions, and other non-endgame missions now have a respawn timer of 10 seconds. Stronghold's legendary contracts and other endgame missions have a respawn timer of 30 seconds, and the respawn timer free play remains unchanged. The loot changes, which we've been wanting for a long time. Now, common and uncommon drops will no longer appear for players at level 30, which should, in theory, drastically increase the drop rate for higher tier things like Masterworks and Legendaries, because you're taking a whole slew of items that could potentially drop out of the loot equation for things above level 30. And I have seen an increase in Masterwork drops. Still haven't gotten a Legendary, but this leads me to one of the controversies. Just before this update was released, drop rates on Masterworks and Legendaries were abound. The whole community was extremely excited about it. People were getting drop rates or drops, and the rates were really, really high. Now, this is good because you can actually feel like you're achieving something by trying to farm items that have higher inscription rates than ones that are currently on your gear. So it felt like it was a little bit more worth your time to be able to farm these items. The second the patch dropped, it seems like the drop rate has decreased, but it still, to me, seems better than it was before, because we're not getting whites and greens from chests and stuff like that. And, you know, Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3 strongholds, which was just absolutely insane. Now, we've got improved stability for all platforms, includes fixes on a number of issues that were causing crashes or connection problems, and audio improvements. It was really frustrating when audio dropped out. Now, one amazing thing here is Titans got an incredible nerf, and they deserved it. All Titans must die. So they've made several balance changes to all variations of Titans. Reduced overall damage mitigation from 100%, so that means when there wasn't a weak spot, you could do pretty much 0 damage. Now it's down to 70 and 75%, depending on the damage type. Now, increase the time that weak points are exposed. Fixed an issue that prevented effects from applying and thus preventing combos, which was incredibly frustrating. Increase the damage the Titans take from weak point hits. Lesser Titans' weak points have been changed to always be active, which is amazing. A lesser Titan shouldn't be just as powerful as a regular Titan, just a little bit smaller. Improved the collision on the ring and seeking projectile attacks. This should make them easier to dodge. Increase the radius of the seeking projectile attack. Oh, great. Decrease the damage done by the self-destruction ability. So all of this, really good. Titans were just a very annoying boss. They weren't necessarily difficult, in my opinion. They just took forever to kill because you could never do damage to them. Especially because I always ended up having to solo them. It really sucked. Now, Frozen Scar Enforcers and Scrappers can no longer move or attack while frozen. The Monitor's health has been greatly reduced in the Heart of Rage Stronghold, which is going to make the Heart of Rage Stronghold maybe almost... well, it's going to make it better to run. I feel like the first Stronghold you do is still going to be the best one to farm, which is Tyrant Mine. They definitely need to do some improvements and tweaks to all the other Strongholds to make them equally fun to do, I guess, or... basically the same amount. You could choose one and not... or increase the drop rates of the more difficult ones would be better, I suppose. There's a lot of different things they need to do to Strongholds to make them better, in my opinion. There were quite a few increases to the damage of Masterwork weapons. So they increased the base damage of the following Masterworks: the Rallner's Blaze, Rolling Carnage, Cycle of Pain, The Last Stand, Glorious Result, Insult and Injury, Sentinel Vengeance, Nosta's Balm, Vasa's Surprise, Soothing Touch, Renewed Courage, and Artinia's Gambit. The damage on these are going to be quite a bit harder and actually going to be quite good to use. Now, thankfully, we've got some gameplay bug fixes as well. The ultimate ability bar will no longer appear full at the start of a mission when it's actually not full, which is great because that messed me up so many times where I'd run into a big group of things and be like, I'm just going to ultimate and kill all these and not take any damage, and lo and behold, it doesn't activate. That was ridiculous. I don't even know how it still was in the game. Weapon recoil will now stop once an exo is looking straight up. Fixed a number of animation issues that occur when the Colossus was using its shield. It should no longer be possible for the Interceptor to become frozen while starting up their ultimate. Interceptor aura damage will now deal the correct type of damage based on the active aura. Oh my god. Thank you. And players can no longer equip abilities from one Javelin to another. Colossus can now use gear faster after being attacked by a heavy hit from enemies. Colossus can now shield charge through destructible objects, such as explosive canisters or harvest nodes, and they can now recover faster after crashing into walls. Now, they also reintroduced the quick play strongholds and quick play missions, and the best part of this is when you're in Tarsus, you don't have to go to the Forge to actually get into expeditions. Anywhere in Fort Tarsus now you can hold Y and get to the expedition screen, which I think is an amazing improvement. Unfortunately, quick play is still broken. More often than not, you will just quick play into a mission that is broken with a wall that won't open or a door that won't open or something like that, and you'll be forced to try and get into another one, which is inevitably going to be broken as well. So while you could quick play into strongholds and missions a lot easier now, unfortunately, they're still super duper broken, which I have no idea why that is still a thing, especially this long after release. But regardless, the ability is there, and having that ability to get into expeditions anywhere in Fort Tarsus, in my opinion, is a massive improvement because Fort Tarsus is the worst part of the game. I will put a link in the description to the full patch notes if you want to check them out for yourself, and I will continue to cover Anthem updates and new things, and we're supposed to be getting some DLC soon for the story, which I think is going to be really good, and obviously we've got the 90-day plan that they put out, so we should be getting some new stuff in the game soon, and there has even been hints of them adding new Javelins. So I am still very excited about the future of Anthem. I quite enjoy playing the game, and as long as they continue to improve this, and they're doing a pretty good job, obviously there's a lot of things still wrong with the game that should be fixed first, like quick play not even working really, but regardless, I do have high hopes for the future of Anthem, and I really hope it ends up being a very good game in the near future. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you enjoy playing Anthem? And I don't know, I just really want to know your experiences from the game, so I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, see you all in the next one.